So, hello and welcome to another episode of Gaurav Ayaan. I'm the host, Sovan, and I've got guests from all over the world. I've got a Pom, I've got an Aussie, I've got an Indian. Obviously it's gonna be fun. I've got Daz all the way from Manchester. So it's gonna be very exciting, Daz. I welcome you for the very first time to the show. How are you doing?
Yeah, well, thanks. Yeah, I'm doing good. What about you guys?
Okay. We
Good,
all are
thank you,
doing
thank
great.
you.
And we have got Lucas from South Australia. And Lucas, how are you doing in this pandemic and in this lockdown?
Well, I just got out of lockdown a couple of days ago, so all good on that part. But it's bloody cold, so I can't wait for the summer.
And we have also got Gaurav, who is from the state of Mahendra Singh Dhoni, and he's just his house is just beside MS Dhoni's house. So how are you, Gaurav?
Not been well today, Soban, because that's why I've told you to introduce everyone today.
Yeah.
Been not been well, and as I told you earlier, the show must go on. So that's why Daz has joined us, and it will be a great show. Welcome, Daz, to our show, and it will be great, interesting topic. We will definitely wanted to discuss about England cricket, what's happening in England cricket. We are very passionate guys on the cricket, and we just wanted to discuss about England cricket and what is happening in England cricket. So, Soban, go ahead.
Okay, so Daz, like to start the show, I would ask how is Ben Stokes, and it's a bombshell here in the subcontinent when Ben Stokes decided to take an indefinite break. So how is the mood in the camp, and how are the English players and the English spectators taking? How are they taking the news of unavailability of Ben Stokes?
I think most people are understanding. He's been through a lot recently. His father passed away, and he's been living in bubbles for quite a few months now. Which isn't easy as a cricketer. They've got a lot of pressure, and they don't get to see the family. And he got called up to be captain for the ODI series against Pakistan, which came out of the blue. And I just think the guy needs a rest. Maybe he might come back and play the last three tests or something, but. I think it's understandable that he has a break and looks after himself more than entertaining us.
That's really that's really an unfortunate scenario we have to deal with. Lucas, what do you when you heard the news of Ben Stokes pulling out of Indian tour and may miss out on the IPL as well as the World T20? How did it affect you, and were you surprised, or you thought that it was normal?
Well, I don't know personally about Ben Stokes. His business is none of mine. But I can only go on by what I see. I was actually shocked by it. He did take some time off. But he was announced in the Pakistan team, and it looked like he was in a good place. So I was completely surprised by this. I did not expect this. And hopefully, as Daz said, hopefully he comes back for the last couple of games in the Indian series.
But I think Sobhan, there was an emergency situation in the Pakistan series. All the what you call 18 or 19 players were in isolation during that Sri Lanka series. That what happened in that period of time. So that was an emergency period, and that's why Ben Stokes was available to play that series. He said in the interview also that if the situation was normal on that period of time, if this disaster wouldn't have been happened, okay, so he wouldn't have taken that part of that series, obviously. So Daz, coming back to the Ben Stokes, will he take the part in the T20 World Cup? And because there are most important series coming in, also there is a T20 World Cup, there is a big Ashes also coming. So will he be the part of that series? And has he informed that how much time he has taken a break? Has he informed about England cricket? What's your take on that? Daz, go ahead.
No, he hasn't. He hasn't announced how much time he won't take off, but I don't think he won't be part of the T20 series anyway, because I think England have got a really settled lineup for the T20. And if he was going to bat, he would bat at 3 probably. And David Milan has made that spot his own, so I think it's quite hard to get Stokes in the team right now. You've got England have got so many good players that can't get in the team, like Joe Root, and I just think it's sensible that Stokes stays at home and takes the Ashes more seriously, which is the one that we want to win this year. So
okay. Soban, go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. As told about Ben Stokes, it's a pattern. Like I could see a pattern. Like he was, like when his dad passed away in Christchurch, he was in New Zealand, and then he came to IPL. Didn't look like the old Ben Stokes. Then he got injured. Then he play. Then he came back for Durham, and then again he was playing. I was watching each and every ball of the 100, and I watched Ben Stokes, and yes, he was interested, but he was little bit not on his own. So I could sense that it would come. So that's I mean, it's a big blow. We all know about how Ben Stokes can perform. So who is the ideal replacement? Are you going to bring someone outside from the squad, or are you just banking on the players that you have? What's the update on the team?
I think we're banking on the players that we've got. I think maybe they'll move Lawrence up to 5, and then maybe Pope at 6, and then and then Butler will be at 7 probably. So the only change won't be at number 3, I think. And that's probably between Hamid and Bairstow or someone like that. So yeah.
Yeah. And just before, I guess, just before the WTC final, there was in England, New Zealand touring England, and England got beaten. And it was, I mean, it was they don't not got only beaten, they got thrashed from New Zealand. So what do you think? What changes will you bring in? Yes, as you said, at number 6 you will have Pope. At I mean, at number 7, number 8 you have players like Wokes and Sam Curran. So what do you think about what all changes can England bring to this playing 11?
I just think, in the New Zealand series, we had a weakened squad because of the IPL and players having a break because of the bubble. I think with the main squad coming back for the India series, we won't look much better and we'll be more solid in the batting order. I don't think the bowling was an issue against New Zealand, but the batting was pretty light, and that's been an issue for England for a while. If Joe Root doesn't perform, then you have to rely on someone like Stokes. And, I think there's a lot more pressure on Joe Root in this series. He hasn't actually done too well at home since 2018, so that's quite concerning. But I'm hoping this is the series where Joe Root stands up in an home series and gets a ton once or twice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Soban, I'm going ahead. Daz, look, everybody in India, and I'm sure lots of people around the world want to know about the status of Alex Hales. Has what he has done, because everybody don't know about what Alex Hales has done, and is there any chance that he will be making a comeback to the international team, or has he played his last international for England team? Go ahead, Daz.
I think it all depends on Morgan. He seems to have upset Morgan a lot, so I actually don't think Morgan's going to be sticking around for much longer anyway. I think he will retire after this T20 World Cup. And then maybe if he does retire, then Ayaan could make a comeback under a new captain, which would be good for cricket because we really need Alex Ayaan in the side. He's an explosive batsman, and we all know what he can do.
Okay, so it means that it all depends upon when Ian Morgan gonna leave this England team, and it is very clear that he will leave this team after T20 World Cup, right? So, and what are the chances that who will take over this team after Ian Morgan departs?
I think the vice captain is Butler, so probably Josh Butler won't be captain when Eoin Morgan retires in the T20 squad. So yeah.
So let's start with the England white ball format. Daz. Obviously, everybody wants to know who should be given the credit of behind England white ball success. Who was the main reason? Should we give a credit to Travis Bayliss, or should we give a credit to Ian Morgan? Who made the difference after 2015 World Cup? Daz, go
ahead. Probably Trevor Bayliss and Eoin Morgan. Eoin Morgan realised that we were so bad in the New Zealand and Australia World Cup that we needed a change, and that we were playing conservative cricket, and we were just boring to watch, and they just had a mentality to go for it, and they brought in some more exciting batsmen, and yeah, England have looked amazing ever since, and we've never looked back. So definitely Morgan and Bayliss are the key parts.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
that's
Subhan.
look. There was a time where England dominated Test match format from 2009 to 2013, 14. They were dominant. They beat Australia. They won the Ashes in Australia. I guess they came to India. They beat India in India, Sri Lanka in Sri Lanka. Everybody they toured. They beat I mean the hosts. So what happened
Yeah.
after 2014? They had players. They had decent white ball players like Ian Bell, Kevin Peterson, Andrew Strauss. So what literally changed? Because in 2015 in Adelaide, I mean our own very own Lucas hometown, Bangladesh beat I guess Bangladesh beat the Three Lions, and then there was suddenly a change in I mean the way they should approach the game. The first series they played against New Zealand, I guess the second one day they scored 400 runs, where Josh Butler played that phenomenal innings. After that, now everything has gone. I mean, in a right way. Brendan McCullum also. I mean, Eoin Morgan has given a lot of credit to Brendan McCullum and New Zealand cricket, the way they changed their mindset. So, what do you think? Why England are struggling in Test currently, and their progression in the one-day format and the white ball cricket? I mean, what has changed? Have they given up? I mean, the development of Test match cricket, and they just want the T20 and the white ball game to grow.
Yeah, I think there's a few different factors. So if you look at the white ball team, players are just playing white ball now, so regularly that when it comes around to Test match, that they're struggling to get into that mentality that they have to be patient and that they have to, sit there for a few hours and work the way through the innings and try to get a good score. And also, when Strauss retired and Alistair Cook went through a few different partners, and that was a struggle for him because he went through some really bad form at that point. And we just don't have a number three, a solid number three. We've been through a few number threes now, and it hasn't worked out.
But that's when we talk about English mindset, the way the people of England are, they're always dogged, they're always willing to fight it out. That's why maybe they won a lot of things all over the world, because of their steeliness. And suddenly we have a bunch of crop of cricketers that they are very attacking, dynamic. Maybe the Aussies were in the past were like the current England side. They were just flamboyant. My question is to Lucas and Daz. Suddenly something has changed. Maybe youngsters in England are much more vibrant, dynamic. Is it so? It's a mindset shit all over. I mean, not only in cricket, also in life.
I think in cricket, not just with England, but with any other team, that the mindset is white ball at the moment. There's so much T20 and so much 50 overs going on that, like I said before, they're struggling to get into the Test mindset. And do they play enough red ball to practice and stuff like that? And if you look at Sibley, he can stand there for 6 hours and score 30 runs. That's the kind of player you need in Test cricket. So.
Yeah,
And
Lucas, please.
Lucas, you want to ask something, or
Yeah,
should I go ahead?
we wanted to add something. What do you think?
Yeah, well, Daz is correct. You need a player that white ball cricket is mainly attack. In Test match cricket, you need a defence. We've seen players that like Jason Roy get absolutely murdered in the Ashes because he didn't have a defence that he could go to. We've seen that with Mitchell Marsh in Australia. A very nervous starter, very good in T20 cricket. We just saw that in West Indies. Longer format struggle, doesn't have a defence. So in Test match cricket, you need someone that can play a very solid defence shot, and that can grind down the bowlers. Now we obviously, we can't grow Pujaras from trees, and Rahul Dravids and players like that. They have to adapt to that situation. And I think because of T20 cricket and now the 100, there's not much patience out there for players. They don't want to. They just want to blast themselves out of bowling attacks. And in Test match cricket, as we saw with Jason Roy, that's very fatal. And you just can't do that. You need a defence to stand up in Test match cricket.
Also, there's another issue. England selectors don't. They pick you based on your name sometimes, and they don't pick you based on your county form and how long you're doing there. So there's some very good players that aren't playing for England that are doing really well in red ball in county.
That's a bad mistake, picking players on white ball form for Test match cricket. Australia did that a couple of times and it didn't work out. Obviously Jason Roy in the Ashes, David Milan was one of them. When he came to Australia, It just never works picking white ball players for Test match cricket. Never works. Never ever works.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
You've got to think about those players that are playing red ball. That just think, how do we get into this England team? When we're playing so well, and it's just disappointing.
Soban, you were about to say something.
Yeah. I was just talking. I was just thinking about to bring this topic. There was a time where the spectators were not allowed to enter Lords without a tie, and there was a lot of tradition in England. But suddenly we are seeing this format evolving, and it is like, I really love it. I'm going to talk about the 100 ball cricket. That is just taken the, I don't know, but it's looking very dynamic. It's looking something that English ECB wants to promote. It has decent players, and everybody has just come to this. I can see packed crowds. What do you think about 100 ball cricket? How are the English spectators taking it?
I think it's a mixed review. Some people like it, and some people don't. But I think it's definitely been good for the women's game, which more than anything, with the viewers watching the women's game is amazing for them. For the men's game, I'm not sure the 100 is the right time to play just before a Test series. Like we were saying before, these players, they need to be playing red ball before a massive Test series against India, and playing 100 balls won't let out the technique. I will only prepare for the series. I think overall it's kind of been positive, and it's been good.
But is it here to stay? Is it here to stay?
Time will tell.
Yeah.
Time will tell. I'm not sure if it won't stay, but I think the ECB will do everything they can do to make it stay.
Okay, let's move to our favorite topic, Test cricket. Okay, because we know there is a big series coming up, India versus England series, and Lucas will also find it easy about talking about Test cricket also. Okay, so let's start talking about Test cricket. Daz, India series is also starting in a week time, I think. And so, what's your expectation on this series? Don't you think England has picked their best team for this series? Obviously, and what's your take on? Is there any weakness of this England Test team right now? And what's your prediction of this series? Daz, go ahead.
At the moment, I think it's India's series to win, just because of the batting order and stuff like that. I think India haven't won in England since 2007, the series.
7.
So I think,
yes.
Yeah, so I think, after the amazing win in Australia, I think this is the best chance India have got of beating England with the suspect batting order. I think it will come down to the bowling, who actually does win the series, though, which is the most important. So we've got Broad, Anderson, Wood, Brooks is injured, so that's another negative for England at the moment.
Yeah, you made a very strong point about Vokes. I have heard this, and you tell me, is this right or wrong? We have discussed this on the show also. That is this right that Chris Vokes doesn't play? He can't play 2 days in a row. Obviously, I heard this in a T20 where there was 2 games in a row, and obviously there is only 4 overs to bowl. And Ian Morgan had made a statement in the toss that Chris Vokes he can't play 2 days in a row. Is this right? That's go ahead.
It seems strange to me because he played so much cricket last year, like in the middle of last year in the Test series, West Indies, Pakistan, and he played really well. And all of a sudden, they took him in the winter, and they just ignored him. They didn't play him, and yeah, I don't actually know what's going on with Chris Vokes at the moment.
Okay,
but
and availability. Yeah, go ahead. Daz.
Eoin Morgan says he can't play 2 days in a row. I guess something's wrong.
Yeah, obviously, because we were quite surprised because in T20 cricket we have to bowl only 4 overs. The bowler needs to bowl only 4 overs, and we were thinking that Chris Vokes would be part of the Indian series also because he was very good in Test cricket also. But since that Morgan had made quite a remarkable statement that he can't play 2 days in a row, and obviously you have to bowl a minimum 15 to 17 overs minimum in a Test cricket, so it makes a lot difficult to play him Test cricket. Let's move ahead with Chris Vokes and move to Jofra Archer. How long Jofra Archer gonna take to make a return in the Test cricket? What's the status of Jofra Archer right now?
Jofra Archer actually played a practice match for his county Sussex away in a one-day cup game. So I think they're just managing his return day by day to see how he's feeling. But he did say that he wants to prioritise the T20 World Cup and the Ashes, so that he's not injured for those. He did actually say that he would sit the summer out if it, so that he could be ready for the Ashes. I don't think we will see much this summer.
As you have said about the Ashes, so let's move to the Ashes. Okay, and we have the Aussie guys. Aussie guy is right now with us. So, what's your take on the Ashes? How much hype is going around in the England with the Ashes series? Okay, and what's your prediction of the Ashes series also?
I guess it depends on the batting lineup again and who's playing. But because everybody's talking about can the players take the families to Australia and stuff like that, and there's a lot of debate around that, and we don't actually know what kind of team England will take because we've got a long winter. So, but I think if England play the best team, we could give it a close game. But I think Australia at home with Smith and Marnus and players like that, I think won't be too hard to win there.
Lucas?
But my prediction would be 3-2 to Australia.
Lucas, go ahead.
Yeah, it's not cricket. It's not cricket Australia dictating the England families. It's our government. As you know, Brisbane just entered a lockdown just yesterday. As it past 12 o'clock, it entered a lockdown yesterday, a 3-down lockdown. New South Wales have been in lockdown for 3 weeks now, and yesterday they recorded 151 cases. So I don't know where they're getting those cases from when they've been locked down for 3 weeks. Adelaide just came out of quarantine, 7-day quarantine. So the Melbourne just came out of 7-day quarantine as well. So far the only state in Australia that haven't been quarantined in the last 5 months is Perth, apart from and Tasmania. So apart from that, Victoria, Canberra, South Australia, Brisbane, Sydney. They're all in lockdown or have been in lockdown, and it's up to the individual governments to give exemplary to the England families, which has has pissed people off in Australia because people have been in lockdown and everyone's suffering and no one's working, kids are out of school, and yet they're saying, well, it's kind of double standards to bring the England families while we have to be while we've been in lockdown suffering. So it's got really nothing to do with Cricket Australia. It's the governments that are potentially stopping this from happening, because if the England families do come over here, they would have to quarantine for 12 days. That's just mandatory. Unless the government from each state gives them an exemption, which will piss off the locals, because as I said, everyone's suffering. I don't see why the ECB is attacking a Cricket Australia. It's not Cricket Australia is dictating the policy. It's the governments. Cricket Australia only knows what the government knows. The Cricket Australia do not know when the government's going to still be in lockdown. They don't know if by Christmas time, if the country is going to have 70%, 80%, 90% vaccinated. We're not even 50% vaccinated. So it's unfair for the ECB. That they recently made a statement, basically just to threaten, in more or less words, if you don't bring our families, we're going to pull out. Like I said, it's got nothing to do with Cricket Australia. Take it up with the state governing bodies. Take it up with the premiers of each state. So I think that's very harsh just to blame Cricket Australia, because they're just in the dark as much as anybody else.
I guess it's just a hard situation for everybody because the England players won't be. They're not just touring Australia. We've got to go to Pakistan and Bangladesh in September. We've got the T20 World Cup in October. Then we've got Australia for 5 Test matches. Then we've got the Windies away after Australia. So, if they're away for 7 months, they need to see the families. I don't think it's anything to do with Cricket Australia. I just think it's the players wanting to spend quality time with the families.
And that's very understandable. If it was my decision, I would let the families in, of course. It's just like when Australia tour in England. They're away from their homes for 2 months. And their families come over, and give them support. It's nice having your family. It's nice having your kids there, of course, the family should be there in Australia. But unfortunately, we're in this horrible time. To be honest, I thought we'd be out of this by now. It looks like it's going nowhere anytime soon. Unfortunately, it's just one of those very sad situations where families get stranded, players have to go around the world without seeing their wives, their kids, and it's just one of those sad situations.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And
So when
I was just thinking about, as Daz mentioned, the tour to Pakistan. I feel somewhere England cricket ECB is not serious. Not serious in sense whenever they send England team to India or the subcontinent, maybe they're. I have heard somewhere that England doesn't mind to lose to India because they tour once. Once in 4 years, so it doesn't matter to them whether they win or lose in India. Is it a kind of a mindset that this team has, or the ECB? What England needs to do to win a series in India? Because every time they come, they got thrashed. 2016. In 2020. So what is the thing? Why they're not able to? Just breach the fortress of India.
So when I think you're
England is
talking about that rotation policy, right? That
No, no, no.
rotation policy.
I'm talking about India and England Test series in India.
Okay, go ahead, Daz.
I think the problem when England play in India is that they just don't have top quality spinners like India do. Like you've got, and it's just really hard because in the English summer, we play cricket at the start of the season where it's really cold and stuff like that, and the players just can't get used to the heat and the spin. And when we go there, the players aren't used to playing against spin. There's so many different factors, and I think if we were to win in India, we would need a much better mentality. We would need better spinners, and we would need a better top order.
Well, right now,
What is this rotation policy is going around in England? Is this has stopped right now, or is it still going on? Let's go ahead.
Is it the future?
I think it's still going on a bit, but that's just because of bubble life, and players don't want to, stay in bubbles. They want to be with their families. Yeah. What I actually think once the quarantine and everything's over, that the players won't have to, be rotated. That we will have a solid time.
Okay, Lucas, you want to ask something?
Well, Australia tried the rotation policy and it was absolute shambles. We had Sean Marsh coming in out of the team 7 times. Usman Khawaja come out of the team 6 or 7 times. We had Pat Cummins, not play Test cricket for a while because of the rotation policy. And I'm very glad that's now dead and buried in Australia. I don't agree with any rotation policies. I think this is why I've always had an argument that your white ball team should be different to your Test team. Now England is probably the best situation for that. Their white ball team is completely different to their Test team, and that's why they're so successful. They're the number 1 team in white ball cricket, as they should be. They're defending champions in the World Cup. It's because of players like Stuart Broad, Jimmy Anderson, Joe Root, Rory Burns. These players do not play in the white ball team, and vice versa. Aaron Morgan. Who's the I'm just trying to think. Who's their top order? Who's their opening pair?
Jason Roy.
Yeah, Jason Roy, David Milan. They're the reasons why they don't play in the red ball team. Because they try to keep their team separate, and to a degree, Australia is trying to do that as well. Aaron Finch doesn't play in the Test team. We've got Alex Carey doesn't play in the Test team. Ashton Agar, doesn't play in the Test team, and vice versa. Steve Smith, doesn't play in the T20 series, won't play in the T20 World Cup. David Warner won't play in the T20 World Cup. So they try to focus on Test match cricket or the cricket that's going on at that period of time.
Okay.
Just one
Someone go
question.
ahead.
Yeah, yeah, please.
Yeah,
I,
that's
I was
good.
going to, I was going to ask you guys, how do you think India won't go in England?
Okay.
Okay, I think my prediction is 2-1. India gonna. I think this is the best time for India to win this series because obviously England has some of the issues because the top order is not been the same kind of a top order. The top three still remains the doubtful who gonna open and who gonna bat at number three. I think especially about the number three options is quite difficult. At sometimes Joe Root bats, sometimes Moeen Ali bats, sometimes. Johnny Bairstow bat. So it is not been the same top order for England, which is used to be earlier. And one more thing, by Ben Stokes is not in the team, so it makes a little more difficult for England also to have a balance on the team because Ben Stokes provides a much more balance to this England red performance. So I think it is the and obviously Jofra Archer is not in the team, so it makes a massive difference. And the series will be played in August, and I've heard this that you don't get much swing on that period of time. So this is the best chance to win for India. Someone go
I
ahead.
have
What,
yeah, please.
what
Des?
about the form? What about the form of Pujara? He's not in good form.
Yeah, I know. The main problem, look, if India went on to score with 300 and 350, we will always be on the game. I know we don't what do you call it? We don't lose the match by our bowling right now. We have the bowlers right now. We who takes 20 wicket in every matches, but it's the batting which our batting is lacking behind every time. One of the series we lost. Most of the series once we lost in the overseas or even for that matter in India. But the main reason is obviously the batting and obviously the concern of a Cheteshwar Pujara's form, Ajinkya Rahana's form, and Virat Kohli's form also is a big concern for Team India. And obviously, if they have to win this series in England, they have to score a massive 100. Lucas, you want to say something? You were having a
I, I probably didn't want to mention this, but one of our friends, Daz, a mutual friend, made a tweet saying that Virat Kohli won't make a single 50 all series. Should kill me for this.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but I think England will win 4-1. I think this will be pretty decisive. Both top order. Yeah, I think 4-1. I think England's bowling is better than India's bowling. I think this will be a bowling series, like we saw in the Test for the England and New Zealand final, and in the England New Zealand series, and the England and India and New Zealand World Test final. That was a bowling match as well. This will be no different, and I think England's bowling is much better than India's bowling. They're that confident that Joe Root's their main spinner. So obviously they don't care about bowling spin on their pitches when they've got Anderson, Broad, Woods, who I actually like. I hope he's picked in the Ashes, and Ollie Robinson, a new player to the Test team. He looked very good in his first game against New Zealand.
Sovan?
Yeah, I think the same. I think India would lose 3-1. The only thing is, I mean, I don't know why, but India, whenever they tour England, I mean, they're not able to play the swing as well as. I don't know, but India lose at the end. I think a lot of tailenders of England will score a lot of runs against this bowling attack. And Rishabh Pant not playing their first Test match also gives England a massive advantage. And I feel somewhere in India would struggle. And I mean,
I think he will be there.
playing
Sovan, I
spinners.
think he will be there. Rishabh Pant will be there. He has
I'm not
joined the team. He has
Okay, so
joined the team.
maybe Rishabh Pant inclusion might be a big advantage for India, but I feel this England side can beat India. As I said, New Zealand is different. India is different. New Zealand they're used to those conditions. That's why they exploited it, and they just, bundled out England in a cheap total. But I don't think India has the potential to beat England in England.
So my prediction is 2-1 for India. You guys are saying that England gonna win,
3-1.
and that's yeah 3-1. I think Lucas has made a massive comment. He has said 4-1.
Yeah, it's easy.
Three.
Well,
I think 3-2. So
well,
3-2.
they say they say the same thing about Australia. You know, this is Australia's best chance to win in England. We haven't won there in 20 damn years. So you know, we had a perfect opportunity in 2019. You know, then we decided to throw it away because we putted too much. The hell with the draw series. You know, I couldn't give a damn about retaining the Ashes. I just want to win in England. So but I do have one final question for Daz. Are you a fan of the County Shield being broke up by the T20 Blast, or would you prefer the County Championship just to go from game one right till the end?
I like the county championship as it is, as it always has
Gaurav, please
been.
mute.
I grew up watching county championship, so yeah, you know, I think start the season with the county championship, play the T20 Blast, the One Day Cup, and finish the season with the county championship again. That's the way I like it. So
Okay, I think so. Daz has some less time.
And one more question, Daz. Will England players play in the IPL? And do you watch IPL?
I watch the IPL. Yeah.
His favorite team is SRH.
Say again.
His favorite, Daz's favorite team is SRH because Johnny Bairstow plays for that team. Am I right, Daz?
Yeah, Sunrisers Hyderabad. Yeah. Yeah. No, the England players won't play in the IPL because we're playing Pakistan and Bangladesh away before the T20 World Cup, and the ECB have told the England players that they've got to play for England. So.
Okay. Soban, you can wrap the show right now because Daz has not got enough time.
And thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much.
As they should. As the England players should pick their team over the IPL, as they should.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so thank you so much, gentlemen. And it was a fantastic evening, and everyone chipped in very nicely. And our special guest from Manchester, even though I don't like Manchester because India lost to New Zealand in the semi-final. So yes, but definitely, thank you so much, Daz, for giving us time. And Lucas, as usual, very delightful to have your company. Gaurav, again, thank you for giving me this opportunity to host tonight. So all the best, guys, and thank you so much. Bye bye.
Thank you, guys. See ya.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.